It is exactly 10 p.m. in the studios of UBC TV. Hello there and welcome to News. Tonight, this Monday, the 15th day of July 2019. First though, let's have a look at our top stories. Vice President Edward Shionuka II calls for integration of medical camp activities into government health programs. One arrested for extortion as LC1 chairman escapes arrest during LDU recruitment. Ebola spreads in largest city of DR Congo, one reportedly dead. And in sports, FUFA Super 8 draws held, Coach Kabonge resigns. Hello there and welcome once again on Sign Language. It is Mogalu Mohammed.
And I'm Patricia Lukoma. I'll be joining the news desk with our business news.
Because Patricia will be here to give us all that's happening in the world of business, including international news. First though, let's have this story kickstarting us off, and that is President Yoweri Museveni, who has commended the US-based Living Water International for setting a good example for others to follow by stepping out to help their Christian neighbors, an act he said was godly and walking in Jesus' footsteps. Let's have this story.
Uganda has been working in this country since 2009. And it was an initiative that started with our dear First Lady.
Living Water International is headquartered in Texas, United States. It is a faith-based non-profit organization that helps communities in developing countries to create sustainable water, sanitation and hygiene programs in response to global water crisis. President Yoweri Museveni, who was the chief guest, thanked Living Water International for their efforts and described them as healthy living things that start small and later benefit the majority of the people.
I'm very happy to be here with you and to encourage you and to congratulate you on what you have achieved.
He asked the people of Uganda and Africa in general to always share their strengths, such as culture, food, medicine, and social insurance, among others.
The big strength of Africa, which is not known, the foods, the medicine, the culture, the social insurance. You cannot have these Africans putting their parents in institutional homes.
Quoting the parable of the talents in chapter 25 in the Gospel of St. Matthew, President Museveni urged Ugandans and Africans in general to fully exploit the talents and opportunities given to them by God, adding that man was given dominion over nature, which he noted they have failed to do, resulting into floods, diseases and poverty. He therefore called on them to take charge of their environment and exploit their full potential.
So I congratulate you on this effort. And you seem to be in the footsteps of Jesus, because Jesus guided us very, very clearly. He pointed out that we shall know them by their fruits. We shall not know them by what they say, but we shall know them by what they do.
Living Water International Uganda Country Director Mr. Ben K. Moya saluted President Museveni for celebrating the achievements with them. He said that the organization has seen over 9,000 water points constructed all over Uganda.
Over the years, we have constructed more than 9,000 water projects all over the country, but our main niche of operation is in Rohama, county of Tungamu, Nyabushozi in Kiruhura.
Established in 1990 and currently operating in 21 countries, Living Water International has completed over 9,000 water projects in Uganda that involved drilling new water wells, harvesting water and rehabilitation of non-working wells, among others. I'm Dennis Blair Kalanzi in Kampala.
Thanks, Dennis, for that report there. Vice President Edward Chionuka Sekandi has called for the integration of medical camp activities into government health programs because they are key in mobilizing communities towards healthcare missed during normal health. Now, the Vice President was speaking ahead of the march between the UPDF Armored Brigade Kasijajira and a combined Uganda Police Force team selected from the 9 districts of Greater Masaka region. Now, the march was a curtain raiser for other marches and a health camp at Lwemode Ground, a Chesiga sub-county in Masaka district.
President Edward Chionuka Sekandi has called for the integration of medical camp activities into government health programs, saying medical camps are a key tool in mobilizing communities towards health care and also capturing health data missed during normal health visit days. He said experience has shown that more people are attending medical camps because of the convenience and proximity to their home places, but also that many people fear going to health facilities due to negative attitudes and only do so when the condition of the patient has worsened. The Vice President, who was over the weekend speaking at a medical camp at Lwemode in Chesiga sub-county in Masaka district, organized by the UPDF Armored Brigade, medical staff in Masaka, said that the medical camps also help in building trust between the health workers and patients and therefore making follow-up on identified cases easier. The Vice President commended the UPDF Armored Brigade for working closely with the population in addressing their health issues, saying that his office will continue working with the UPDF leadership and other agencies to hold quarterly medical camps, saying that this will also help in disease surveillance and monitoring among populations. The Vice President said that any medical treatment extended to the rural areas always attracts huge numbers within the community, which is a reflection that the people need medical support, which he said is vital intervention to better their health and productivity. He said that the outreach efforts will also facilitate in educating people in prevention, sanitation and early detection of illness so that reporting to health facilities is timely to save more lives, especially among children and pregnant mothers, and avoid certain ailments. According to Captain Musisi, who led the UPDF medical team, services at the one-day health camp included treatment for malaria and screening of HIV/AIDS, hepatitis B, STDs, diarrhea, especially among children, skin infections, and screening of other non-communicable diseases. The Vice President, who held the UPDF as a true people's force, also launched the Armored Brigade Commanders Cup that will be contested among 9 districts of Greater Masaka sub-region. Reporting for UBC TV News, Stephen Kanakulia Sempa.
Security now, where one person has been arrested for extortion and chairperson Kibao Zone in Lubaga Division escaped during a UPDF recruitment exercise. The 1st Division Army spokesperson Major Biral Katamba says the culprits are being held and the exercise to address security gaps in the country will cover 83 districts, as we hear in this report.
This is Lubaga Division, one of the 5 divisions that make up Kampala, Uganda's capital city. UPDF turned up at Lubaga Division to recruit the required quota of the 156 personnel into the local defense units.
We are looking at people who are going to serve from their local areas. So we prefer people who are coming from Lubaga. That's why we put this in 2 divisions. For the case of Kampala, we shall recruit from Kawempe, we shall recruit from Lubaga. We've started with Lubaga today, then we shall go to Machinde. So if you are from Machinde, you don't have to move all the way from Machinde to Lubaga.
UPDF targets recruiting 3,400 from 13 centers in Kampala metropolitan area. For one to qualify, they have to be Ugandan citizens of ages between 18 and 35.
You must be Ugandan. That means you must possess the national ID. We are looking at people, the youth, between the age group of 18 and 35. We are looking at people with recommendations from LC1 chairperson, and then the PISO should be recommended by the PISO and the GISO.
Successful candidates will be required to undergo 4 to 6 month training before pass out and subsequent deployment. The exercise, which was initially smooth, later had incidents of extortion with unscrupulous persons. The youth, however, accused the local leaders of masterminding the vice.
To move all the way here, we want people from this local area. If you are from Lubaga, we are going to screen you. But if you are from Kapchorwa, Masaka, Mitiana, no, you don't have to walk. They don't have to cheat you. Why do you allow to give out money? UPDF is a corruption-free institution. Yes. If you give out money, we arrest you. If you get money, we arrest you.
Some were arrested in the process after allegedly receiving over 5 million shillings from unsuspecting group from Karamoja. One unidentified Chihuahua Zone L1 chairperson escaped after it was discovered that most recruits had his recommendation.
Our intelligence department gave us information about a person who was extorting money from the recruits, the would-be recruits, and giving them fake recommendation letters, purportedly from Kampala Central or the Kampala Division. We've arrested him. We are interrogating him, and we think it could be a big racket, and we shall take him to the courts of law.
People are coming from Entebbe, people are coming from Kumi, people are coming from Soroti. So for them, some of them, they are not informed that the first priority goes to the people who are within the division.
Individuals with a history of health complications and unclean criminal records were eliminated. The 2-week-long exercise will cover 83 districts in the Central, Western, Eastern, West Nile and Northern regions of Uganda. Susan Naonga and Sudat Kaye.
Still on matters pertaining to security in the country, the Inspector General of Police has ordered a fresh verification of private security companies. During a media briefing, police spokesperson Fred Enanga said the verification includes the condition of the employees, a state of guns and levels of training. Now, this follows last week's killing of a city businessman, Arnold Ainebiona, by a security guard in Kampala after a misunderstanding.
The IGP has instructed the Department of Firearms and Private Security Organization to intensify supervision on the performance of private security organizations. This is a result of concerns on the number of complaints that have been received of violent and abusive behavior by private security guards, poorly trained staff, and on a number of on the internal administration of these private security organizations. Most of them are hinged at cutting costs. There is reduced pay. They are caring more about profit margins than public safety, which has caused the public to come up with a number of questions on the competence of private security organizations. Therefore, emphasis is going to be put on thorough inspection of pre-employment checks, training, supervision, customer service, and how these PSOs are integrating with technology. This directive has already taken effect. The department is moving out with the alert squad from police headquarters and ensuring that they don't just leave the inspection of private security guards to the alert squads under their companies.
Police publicist Fred Enanga, of course, clarifying there on the new fresh verification of private security companies that the Inspector General of Police has ordered. Now, anti-human trafficking crusaders want an anti-human trafficking department set up within government to fight the global challenge. In a joint communique read by Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Gender, Pius Girimana, intergovernmental agencies want an overhaul of the legal framework that regulates labor exploitation. Now, this was during a meeting of government ministries, departments and agencies at the Anti-Corruption Department of State House. Here is our reporter, Henry Okrot.
Imagine if government of Uganda developed a formal mechanism to systematically refer trafficking victims to appropriate care and expanded protective services. This issue was raised during the Intergovernmental Agency meet in Kampala.
We have agreed that we are going to have strengthening of regional cooperation against trafficking in persons by using the East African Police Force Conference Organization, which is made up of 14 nations and currently chaired by Sudan.
Amid such resolutions, there is a problem of human trafficking. Eradicating human trafficking in Uganda remains an interministerial function, putting a task to ministries, departments and agencies to overhaul or review the legal framework.
We have recommended that there should be a full-fledged anti-human trafficking department staffed to handle the trafficking issue. We have agreed that all adverts by recruitment agencies should indicate the telephone number of the Minister of Gender, Labour and Social Development that workers and districts can call.
The head of anti-corruption unit at State House, Lieutenant Colonel Edith Nakalema, called for cooperation to enhance coordination.
Working together to ensure that our country is going forward. And I also want to thank the civil society and the development partners and all other agencies that have come in to support this cause.
Intergovernmental, interoperational, international action has to be taken in order to combat this vice, because it's a serious one and we can't think that we can do it as Uganda alone.
A 2018 U.S. Embassy report indicated that government of Uganda did not meet minimum standards for elimination of human trafficking. This is the trend that the intergovernmental meeting at State House Anti-Corruption Unit in Kampala sought to change. Henry Okrut, UBC.
Thanks, Henry, for that report there. Now, 3 justices of the High Court, led by Elizabeth Musoke, Helen Obora and Ezekiel Mhanguzi, have unanimously resolved to dismiss the DPP's appeal challenging the acquittal of Sarah Nabikolo, who had been accused of the murder of her husband, Eria Sebunya, also known as Kasio Ukira. The justices ruled that the evidence adduced linking Nabikolo to the murder of Kasio Ukira was wanting, inconclusive, and merely creating suspicion in the mind of the judges. Their verdict was read out by the Deputy Registrar, Jesivia Ruhanga.
So in our view, PW12, the brother to the deceased, was not sure of how well the deceased and the respondent were relating after meeting with them. At the same time, we find the evidence of PW13, the border guy, that did not in any way point to the respondent's participation in the murder of the deceased. So in the view of this court, the available evidence is inconclusive. The video recording where the murder of the deceased is discussed, there is no mention of the respondent's name. The voices refer to Madame, and this court does not find it reasonable to presume that the person being referred to as Madame was the respondent. We find no merit in the appeal, and it is hereby dismissed. We uphold the acquittal of the respondent as found by the trial judge.
On to matters pertaining to Buganda Kingdom, where Buganda Kingdom is to open up their coffee company to promote coffee growing and agriculture in the kingdom. Now, this has been revealed by the first Deputy Katikiro and Minister for Finance in Buganda Kingdom, Robert Wagwa Nsibirwa, as he presented the Kingdom's 2019-2020 budget of 121 billion shillings to Buganda Luchiko.
Buganda Kingdom has earmarked key areas of support to improve the economic standards of its people. The Buganda Lukiko, Buganda Kingdom Parliament, has passed the 2019-2020 budget that will be implemented on the theme improving the well-being of the population and their prosperity to run for the next 3 years. The 121 billion budget will strengthen development projects in the kingdom, like a Mwanyi Terimba program that promotes coffee growing and tree planting. Buganda Finance Minister Robert Wagwa Nsibirwa clarifies that the kingdom is planning to eliminate exploitative middlemen by starting a coffee company that will buy coffee from farmers.
Okumaliriza omulimu gw'okuwandiisa n'okutandika Buganda Coffee Company eneesuubula emmwanyi mu mwaka by'ensimbi guno tusuubira nti kijja kukolebwako. Kijja kwongera amaanyi mu nteekateeka y'emmwanyi terimba naddala okulaba ng'omutindo gw'emmwanyi ezinogebwa n'okusunsulwa gukuumibwa.
The kingdom will also have medical stores for storing drugs which will be used during health camps.
Ekitongole kya Buganda Medical Stores kigenda kutandikirwa mu tunakumiranga eddagala n'ebikozesebwa mu kujjanjaba abantu ba Ssaabasajja okutuusa obujjanjabi ku bantu ba Ssaabasajja nga tuyita mu nteekateeka y'ensira z'ebyobulamu, okwongera amaanyi mu kubunyisa enjiri y'obulwadde bwa ekibumba wamu ne mukenenya mu pulogulaamu y'abasajja n'abalenzi okwenyigira mu kulwanyisa mukenenya.
Other tasks to work on in this financial year include eradicating poverty, completion of Masiro construction and roofing, construction of 100 wells to provide safe and clean water in selected counties, and increasing the number of bursaries for education. In the last financial year, the education sector offered 102 bursaries to primary school-going children, 340 to secondary school, and 600 in tertiary institutions. The Katikiro Charles Peter Maiga addressed the Lukiko on the Masaza football tournament.
Tetusobola kukkiriza fujjo lino mu mupiira sebo kite basaka bembe abakola effujjo mu bakwate n'omukono gwa kyuma mubateeke mu makomera babasibe. Muleke kuba batitiizi bagala kubatiisatiisa. Suleiman Sejje mugamba abe musajja mugumu tatiisibwatiisibwa muntu yenna, naffe tusobola okutiisatiisa abo ababatiisatiisa. Omupiira gufuuse ensonga mu nsi yonna. Buganda esobola okuyimutuka lwa mupiira. Bakirwa batutandise okutambula baagala bagutte bawendule si bawagizi. Sikikkiriza n'akamu era amawulire ago ge nafunye ngenda galondoola nkoowola abantu bonna mu Buganda okukomya effujjo mu mupiira gw'amasaza n'emipiira emirala.
The 2019 to 2020 budget implements the 5 strategic pillars of the kingdom that include protection of the throne, federalism, protection of Buganda land and its boundaries. The kingdom will also focus on addressing gender-based violence and the spread of HIV and AIDS. Bernard Yiga, UBC.
A tough-talking Buganda Prime Minister there, and of course saying that people who are trying to bring disorganization in football, especially in Buganda Kingdom, should desist. We are now going to take a very short break, but when we return, Patricia Lukoma will be here to give you all that's happening in the world of business, including international news. Stay with us.
Every dream has a challenging journey. Ours began in 1998. With a mission to drive the development of a robust communications sector in Uganda, we created structures to champion the dream. We've evolved, made discoveries, supported great minds, empowered Ugandans, and fostered a vibrant culture, enabling communication for all. Down the years, we've created memories and networks, uniting generations and building great partnerships. Together, we can go even further. UCC, celebrating 20 years of achievements.
Have you completed Senior 4 or Senior 6 and you want to do a 2-year certificate or a diploma course? Makerere Institute for Social Development, an affiliate to Makerere Business School, offers programs in accounting and finance, business administration, procurement and supplies management, social work and social administration, information technology, counseling and guidance, human resource, project planning and management, journalism, secretarial studies, and many others. We are located on Sa Apollo Kegwa Road, next to Oilcom Petrol Station, with a UBTEP Center number.
Freedom City yako Yongoma! 7th chapter music na city events watusako. Take over pare kome bere kome na mwenda. Gakulune situ daba yimbi bonaba manya.
Tuzaneti waka WhatsApp it's a point Kenzo. Kazo mwezi makumi abiri July. Freedom City take over party. Calvin the entertainer. I don't know.
Some we originate, some of them are imitated. It's the king herself on the 20th of July.
Mr. Semagra, B2C, Rabidom Tuju, White Bender, King Saha, Lydia Jasmine, Spice Diana, Ghetto Kids, Voltage Music, Maureen Antume, Fefe Busi, Livingston, Exodasa, Tim Swizzy, Sharon Payton, Robert Daba, Alento from USA, Palazzo, Chosen Blood, Vivian Tendo, Rened, Aziza Sion, Senga Sebanga, Topika Sente, Naira Ali, Hey Pass, Ruden White, Victor Kamenyo, Big Guy, Steady, Naba Imebala Labanji, Runechi Wanyicha Gwana Mefu, Mwana Mnes Calvin the Entertainer, Gajago Zemiaka Komina Gomonga, Kueresa.
Calvin Jangondale, yo, what's up? I'll be performing at Freedom City on the 20th of July. Take over party.
Nakuzomweza abiri July, twetange ku Freedom City, tatuwagira Calvin, emyaka 10 gumu.
Ina Freedom City ngabiri July, hokinga mtwaro gumu, vipi mitwaro ebiri, Calvin the Entertainer ye kalabalaba. Emyongiglo usao mwendezo regulo, UBC bachivu jiride, chinono chigezemu. Ngabiri July, kome biri kumina mwenda, Freedom City.
Forget the long line hassle. With 1xBet, the power of placing the perfect bet is at your fingertips. Bet anytime from anywhere. Best of all, payment is instant. Place your bet on whatever you choose. Virtual games, bet games, sports, and even live betting. Winning has never been this simple. Bet with 1xBet. Advanced gaming is regulated by the Lotteries and Gaming Regulatory Board. Betting is addictive and can be psychologically harmful, and it's only eligible to persons above 18 years of age.
26 minutes past 10 o'clock, and it's time for business. We start off with what is happening with the Middle East Expo. Now, the Ugandan business community has joined the Middle East in an expo at Lugogo in Kampala. The expo was an opportunity for exhibitors to showcase their products and attract buyers, besides exploring possibilities of entering partnerships with other firms, as we hear in this report.
Africa, the market of the millennium, has gained attention from global manufacturers and exporters seeking tie-ups with importers in Africa. Local and foreign firms are exhibiting products and innovations at this year's Egypt and Middle East Expo at Wuma Showground Main Hall. To Ugandans, the Egypt and Middle East Expo is a benefit through shopping and learning, besides providing part-time jobs to youth. The trade fair is an annual event that promotes trade and investment in participating countries like Iran, Pakistan, Syria, Egypt, India, UAE, and Singapore, and the host Uganda.
This expo is a gate, or opens the gate for Ugandese to know about the product from other countries, from Egypt, from Pakistan, as I mentioned before, from Turkey, from Singapore, from Malaysia. Always we do a report for ourselves for each event, and we always working to improve any challenge we faced in here, and we try best to bring many items from the goods to show or to promote here in Uganda. And we're looking for the business people to come to be aware about our events and our goods. Market is already okay, but we looking for better. We're looking for better, yes. But the market is okay.
Ashraf Mohammed, one of the directors of the Egypt Middle East Expo, says the expo will increase the expo's visibility.
We have many countries attend this event, the majority from Egypt, but we have exhibitors from Pakistan, from India, from Turkish, from Singapore and Malaysia. Our event have variety for the goods. We have what Ugandese needed. We have home furniture, we have kitchenware tools or items. We have something like jewelry. We have clothes. We have antique and souvenir. Besides, we have herbs and something for medicine product. And we have carpets. This is
the exhibition that started on 7th July ends on 17th with exhibitors from East and Central Africa. Sandra Kahunde-Agaba, UBC News.
And of course, in the exhibition showcase, you can see quite a lot of innovation there. Now, in terms of employment, recruiting companies want Parliament to organize a sensitization seminar so as to know how they operate. This follows members of Parliament blaming on recruiting companies for failing to stop torture of Ugandans offering labor abroad.
Uganda is one of the countries on the African continent with the highest number of youth working in the United Arab Emirates. However, government is still facing the challenge of rampant cases of human trafficking by unregistered companies, which tarnishes the image of the over 150 registered companies in the country. The managing director, Middle East Consultants, Gordon Mogenyi, says that people should be sensitized on how they operate instead of blaming external labor sourcing companies.
The problem is they are lacking information. They need to be sensitized about external labor. How does it work? What are the procedures? What kind of people are we taking? They don't know. So the parliament, they should first understand our procedures. How do we recruit? What extent do we take these people to airport? So they should first be sensitized by we.
Mugenyi made the remarks while seeing off 100 Ugandan youth who were part of the 216 who traveled to the United Arab Emirates for employment and encouraged them to be good ambassadors. Parents who accompanied their children were grateful with government for registering these companies. Salon Kasivante compiled this report.
Now let's cross over onto the international scene and see how the business environment is there. And starting off with Ethiopia, where it will launch a satellite into the orbit in about 3 months' time. The satellite, assembled in China, weighs over 70 kilograms and is expected to be used for agricultural research, forest development, water and climate-related work in the country. CGTN's Giram Chala has more.
Ethiopia's plan to launch a satellite into orbit has been there for a while, but now it is time. And in about 3 months' time, the country will join nations with ownership of satellites in the world.
In just a few months' time, Ethiopia will launch its first satellite into orbit. This satellite is intended to be used for agricultural research, forest administration, climate change, as well as drought focus.
It is the support of China which will make this dream a reality. Ethiopia's satellite, which will be ready for launch by September 2019, is being built in a space science center of China located in the suburbs of Beijing. And recently, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed has visited the preparations for launch.
An agreement of cooperation between the government of Ethiopia and that of China has been signed. Based on that agreement, and of course with the assistance of China, Ethiopia will launch a 70-kilogram weighing satellite.
Ethiopia spends about $650 million to purchase Earth observation information every year. To launch its satellite, it will cost the country $10 million. It looks like that is a sound investment. Group Dara CGTN, Addis Ababa, Ethiopia.
Business on an international scene, Tunisia's tourism revenues have edged up in the comparison with the same period last year. Now, authorities assert that by attracting Chinese travelers and tourists from traditional European markets should be top priority in the next few months. CGTN's Adnan Chauchi reports.
More than 2 weeks after the suicide bombings in downtown Tunis, Tunisia's tourism revenues have edged up in comparison with the same period last year. Authorities assert that attracting Chinese travellers and tourists from traditional European markets are a top priority in the next few months. Here's CGTN's Adnan Chauchi with that report.
René Trabilsi is the Minister of Tourism in Tunisia. Has made great effort to restore the image of the tourism sector in the North African country following the recent terror attacks in Tunis. Now he's confident that Tunisia will attract over 9 million tourists this year.
Life goes on even after this crisis, which happens in any country in the world. There are no booking cancellations. The occupancy rate at hotels reached nearly 100%. We'll reach our target of 9 million tourists and even surpass it.
The minister added that Tunisia can welcome over 100,000 Chinese tourists who visit the country to discover its rich civilization, history and millennial historic sites.
I'm very optimistic about the Chinese market. I've had meetings with travel agencies and businessmen from China. Chinese clients are enthusiastic about visiting Tunisia. The room cottage excursion is a fantastic program for Chinese travelers.
According to the Ministry of Tourism and Handicrafts, the number of tourists in Tunisia hit about 3.8 million peak late June. That is up 16.7% compared with the same period last year, while tourism revenues edged up 42.5%. The traditional European markets have also chosen Tunisia as a tourist destination for its proximity and the service quality. Audrey is a French tourist who's visiting the Hammamet beach resort for the first time.
My grandparents have been visiting this tourist resort for the past 18 years. They praised the good conditions, so I decided to come to Tunisia for holidays. I'm discovering Tunisia. It's a cool experience.
Tunisian authorities have tightened up the security measures in all regions across the country. No travel bans have been issued for tourists who plan to visit this North African and Mediterranean destination. Adnan Chauchi, CGTN, Tunis.
Again, as we cross borders, the Democratic Republic of Congo has confirmed the first case of Ebola in the eastern city of Goma, home to more than 1 million people. Now, the health ministry confirmed that a pastor tested positive for the virus in a center in Goma after arriving there by bus on Sunday. The ministry says that a risk of this disease spreading is quite low. More than 1,600 people have died since the Ebola outbreak began in eastern DRC Congo a year ago. The pastor traveled 200 kilometers, about 125 miles to Goma by bus from Butembo, where he had been with people with Ebola. The health ministry said in a statement, due to the speed with which the patient has been identified and isolated, as well as the identification of all passengers from Butembo, the risk of spreading the rest of the city of Goma remains low. It is said that the bus driver and 18 other passengers would be vaccinated on Monday. Now, UK Prime Minister Theresa May has criticized US President Donald Trump for calling on several Democratic congresswomen of color to go back, according to her spokesperson. The outgoing Prime Minister called Mr. Trump's words completely unacceptable. Trump said the women originally came from countries whose governments are a complete, total catastrophe. He was referring to 4 congresswomen, 3 who were born in the U.S. and 1 who came as a child refugee. His remarks were widely condemned as racist and having gone beyond previous statements and actions by the president that drew allegations of racism. Prospective Democratic presidential candidates denounced Trump's tweets as racist and divisive. Republican Party representatives largely kept quiet. Now, despite the criticism, President Trump launched another Twitter tirade on Monday morning, calling on the women themselves to apologize.
Brought to you by Bet with 1xBet.
Sports news now, and that is with me, Edward Rukidi Kijanangoma, and we begin with netball, where Uganda's national team, the She Cranes, has started its second preliminary Group G with a hard-fought 57-54 victory over Trinidad and Tobago on Court 1 at the M&S Arena in Liverpool. Let's get more in this report.
The Ugandan flag still flies high in England, where the Netball World Cup has entered the business end with the second preliminary group at Liverpool's M&S Arena. Uganda has started that phase with the hard-fought 57-54 victory over Trinidad and Tobago, much to the applause of the Ugandan fans that may party all night. Uganda was under intense pressure, but a combined team effort crossed the She Cranes the line in a game that boosted their chances of qualifying to the next level.
Like, the game has not been that easy as we expected it to be, but we have supposed to cool the game down, and we have supposed to take the advices our coaches have given us, and every part and every department has done which they were supposed to do. The defenders who have defended the balls, the midfielders they have did their part, and the shooters they have scored the goals. So thank you for your support, Ugandans. We are still doing better.
Earlier, word from England was that the players were disgruntled over unfulfilled promises, but those fears have been allayed by National Council of Sports General Secretary Patrick Ogwen.
We have not had any serious case of injury. About the welfare needs of the players, of course, we have addressed them. Allowance of players have been paid. We are now looking forward to motivate them with additional support, financials, for progressing to the next stage. And yesterday, the Honorable Minister of State for Sports, Honorable Charles Bakabulede, had a good time with them, to interact with them freely, to find out, just as any leader would want to do, to see that the team is in high spirit. And I think from the brief he gave me this morning, we don't have any reason to worry for anything.
In the other Group G game played, England defeated Jamaica 57-48. At this phase, where each team plays only 3 games in a 6-team group, Uganda will next play South Africa on Wednesday. John Barnes, Sentamo, reporting.
Of course, congratulations to the She Cranes there. Now, the second edition of the FIFA Super 8 tournament returns on the 24th of this month with more prize money at hand. An inclusion of newly promoted teams has ignited competition. Meanwhile, former Chetume FC coach Alan Kabonge is suing his bosses over arrears. Details of that in this report.
The local football season gets underway this month with the return of the FIFA 8 that is scheduled to run from the 24th of July to the 24th of August 2019. The tournament will witness the top 6 Premier League and top 2 big league teams from last season battling it out for the first trophy of this season. A new format has been introduced that will see teams play 3 games each and be ranked from the 1st to 8th position. Also, the prize money has been more than doubled from 30 million shillings to 68 million shillings this season, with the winning team taking home 20 million shillings.
During that last year, we drew both games when we were in Mbarara and Nambole. The difference was that we came 3rd and they were 5th. But it's going to be a tough game. And the competition is going to help us because it's in the pre-season engagements, provided the laws and governing the tournament are taken serious, not like last season.
We are going to use the tournament to prepare for the tasks ahead. That's the League and the Cup. So we are ready for the task and we have the players who can perform to the expectations.
The draws held have seen Wachiso Giants host KCCA FC, Proline FC battling it out with Vipers Sports Club, Mbarara City will face URA FC, while Nduparaka FC will face Toro United. Meanwhile, Chetume FC assistant coach Alan Kabonge has stepped down. Kabonge's resignation roots to non-payment for 2 months, and the club has since replaced him. He says he intends to sue Chetume FC that failed to meet its obligations.
I'm not happy the way they are treating me on my contract. I was supposed to be paid, but even up to now, I have never received on my account any coin. Last month, this month, now up to Feb, of which they have brought another coach, the manager, and the assistant. All the clubs I have coached, I have left while demanding them. But this time, on Chetume, let them pay me.
Ngabo Emon, reporting for UBS TV.
Now, reigning league champions KCCA FC return into action Tuesday evening in the quarterfinals of the Sekafa Kagame Cup at Kigali Stadium. KCCA play hosts Rayon Sport of Rwanda as the only Ugandan representative still competing at the tournament. Proline FC was the other representative from Uganda, failing to make it past the group stages.
The draw is not bad, but for us we are ready for any team that comes in our way. Yeah, we are hoping to get good results. So far in any game you expect mistakes, but for us we have trained about them, and I think we have gained experience. We have experienced a lot, so we are hoping not to make again the same mistakes. Motivation because we topped our group, they were the second. So I think we are a little bit better than them. Yeah, but we're hoping for a tough game. We're hoping to win it. About team So it is an individual, so we have to work as a team in order to achieve everything. We are well prepared because we have faced many teams. We have faced Arab teams with a lot of fans, more than these. So we are hoping to give our best. Yeah, we don't have any pressure.
It's going to be a very, very hard game, but we have a good team. We know we shall play better. In football, such things are normal. They do happen when players get tired, but I think we iron those things out, and we are ready to focus on the game we are going to play.
And all the best to Rayon Sport as they, I beg your pardon, all the best to KCTFC as they continue to represent Uganda, the Sekafa Kagame Cup. Now, talented youth in sports and games must avoid use of drugs which they misconceive to make them stronger but promote their talents. Rotarian Dennis Imbide Sebugwao warned during the sports day of St. Mary's College, Kisubi in Wakiso district.
Once upon a time, St. Mary's College Kisubi in Wakiso district was renowned not only for its prowess in education, but also dedicated to sports success. Those were the times during which players like William Munkemba, Mike Mukasa, Paul Mutakabala and goalkeeper Mike Mukasa didn't only shine for Sports Club Vida, but also the Uganda Cranes. This the school did by organizing various competitions in the institution, from which the creme de la creme was realized. To ensure they produce even better than in the past, the school has laid emphasis on the inter-house competition, whose 2019 edition has climaxed. The closing was graced by veteran sports administrator Dennis Imbide, who preached against drug and substance abuse.
In the long run, when you grow up, you get health problems, especially the heart and the muscles or the tendons. So for me, let's encourage fair competition. You can win without using drugs. You can win, and I'm happy that the system today across the whole world is being cleaned up, is being focused on anti-doping methods and strategies. So it doesn't, you can win without actually cheating.
Action was in various disciplines like athletics, swimming, football and rugby. Rugby has indeed produced star players at national team level like Adriano Casito. Ultimately, Kakoza House triumphed, closely pursued by Kiwanuka, with Laudel in third and Mugwanya finished last. Report compiled by Salongo Fred Kasinande.
Brought to you by Bet with 1xBet.
Let's have a look now at the weather forecast for tomorrow.
Hello again. Once again, I'm happy to have you for tonight's weather report. My name is Molin Kenyana, and we shall remember that the weather report is brought to you by Uganda National Meteorological Authority in association with UBC TV. Now today we've had a little bit of reduction in wet weather activities across much of the country, although we had some light showers over a few areas. And this, according to our satellite analysis, is because we are seeing a high pressure system over the southern half of our continent, and that is pushing dry winds towards our country. And from this system that we are monitoring, we can anticipate that tomorrow in the morning we'll start off with some light showers that will be across the Lake Victoria Basin, as well as the northwestern and northern half of the country. And elsewhere, we're expecting a pleasant morning that will be intervals of sunny and cloudy conditions. Now later on in the afternoon, we're forecasting rainy conditions across parts of eastern Uganda, central, as well as parts of the Lake Victoria Basin and also the western stretch. And elsewhere, we'll have sunny intervals. Now we'll move over to our daytime highs, where we're forecasting a warm day still across the Karamoja region as well as northern Uganda. Temperatures will go up to 30, and with Kampala, temperatures will remain at 27, and we're still forecasting a cold day across Kabale Highlands. Temperatures will rise up to 23 degrees centigrade. Now we move further to some of the cities we have for you. We're forecasting sunny conditions for Cairo as well as Dubai. Quite warm weather across Cairo. Temperatures will rise up to 41. We're likely to have light showers for Tokyo and London. We're expecting sunny intervals at a daytime high of 26 degrees centigrade. And that nicely brings us to the end of today's weather report. Thank you very much for joining us. My name is Molin Kenyana. Have a good day tomorrow.
Kenyana there with the weather forecast for tomorrow, and of course expecting some showers probably in the morning or later on in the day. And Patricia, of course, netball, our she cranes doing us some good service in as far as the World Cup is concerned. I don't know whether you like football, do you? Netball?
I believe that any team with the right coach, they're deemed
can
to
do wonders.
perform wonders.
Well, there are some teams that have coaches, but they don't do much. Anyway,
But one issue I wanted us to talk a little bit about is the Ebola spread. It looks like the Ministry of Uganda is really doing a lot to contain the situation.
yeah, the Ministry of Health, of course, it has done some commendable job in as far as containing it. We've not had more cases, of Ebola patients in the country. That is
Since
something.
Kasese.
Exactly, that is something that is very commendable. But of course, in sports, Uganda, we have to pray for the she cranes because they are facing South Africa, and that is a country that is very, very tough when it comes to netball, but we do hope for the best. And that brings us to the end of this bulletin. But before we leave you, let's have a quick reminder of our top stories. President Edward Shionuka secondly calls for integration of medical camp activities into government health programs. One arrested for extortion as LC1 chairman escapes arrest during LDU recruitment. Ebola spreads in largest city of DR Congo. One reported dead. And in sports, Uganda beats Trinidad and Tobago at Netball World Cup. And that's all we had time for. Thank you so much for having kept us company. On sign language, it has been Mugalu Mohammed.
And I'm Patricia Lokoma. Always a pleasure.
And I'm Edward Rukidi Kijanangama, wishing you a very blessed night. See you tomorrow.
Good night.